Hey guys, it's me Kevin and welcome to another round of AFL Tipping. This week I'll be tipping round 13 of the AFL season, which is Indigenous round. So basically this round we're going to be acknowledging and celebrating the Indigenous culture, and I think there'll be a couple of good pre-match ceremonies down at TIO Stadium. I'm looking forward to see what they serve up this year. Anyway, so speaking of TIO Stadium, we head over there on a Friday night where Gold Coast and Carlton face off. It is the first time in AFL history where Gold Coast play on a Friday night, and what a better way to do it than against Carlton, who are at a similar level compared to Gold Coast and have been for a few years now. Considering that they're two teams on the rise in future years, I think they might form a bit of a rivalry. Who knows? Anyway, this was such a hard game to tip, because both started the season on fire, and then both kind of started to drop away afterwards with some gallant performances, but gallant losses nonetheless. Well, for Carlton, they did win after the siren against Fremantle, one of the best after the siren kicks you ever see. While Gold Coast are coming off a draw against Essendon, followed by a gallant loss to reigning premiers Richmond. Who do I tip? I'm tipping Gold Coast. I don't know why. I just feel that Gold Coast start matches better than Carlton. And yes, they do throw away big leads. They have done in the past few weeks. But let's remember, Carlton aren't exactly the most, they're not the strongest team. And I think they might also throw away a lead at one point. And this is going to be a ripper, to be honest. For a game, who thought that Friday night would get good with Gold Coast and Carlton facing off? But I think this is going to be decided by one solitary point by Gold Coast. I think one solitary point, kick after the siren to Isaac Rankin. He'll kick it this time, kick after the siren to win by a point. That is my prediction. So, Saturday afternoon, we head over to Marvel Stadium. Wait, no, matches aren't happening in Melbourne. To the Gabba, where Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs face off. I don't know why I thought it was at Marvel for a second, but look, I'm tipping Melbourne because they were very impressive against. You would have thought a contender like Collingwood. I'm not sure if they're contenders now, but they were nonetheless quite impressive against Collingwood. The Dogs, they were just as good, but I mean, let's face it, look who they were playing. Adelaide, I don't think you would give that as much importance as thrashing Collingwood. So, on the back of that, and both teams have got good midfields when they're going. I just like what Melbourne are doing at the moment, with Brayshaw back in form, and their forward line starting to function again. Well, remember, the Bulldogs don't exactly have the best key stocks on either side of the ground. So I think Melbourne will win. Saturday afternoon at Adelaide Oval, Port, Adelaide and Hawthorn. I think you got to go Port. They're going to bounce back. I mean, that was a disappointing loss to Geelong. They will bounce back. It's at home. Hawthorn haven't really been doing much. Okay, they're all right against the Eagles at times, but still, nonetheless, they got beaten up convincingly. So, I think Port Adelaide will win this easily. On Saturday night at Optus Stadium, Fremantle and Sydney. I'm tipping Fremantle, despite the fact they lost to Carlton and Sydney beating GWS. But I just heard the news, and they're down Dane Rampy and George Hewitt, among a few other players. So, Sydney have got some injuries going. It's at home. Fremantle have only got 2 home games left, and they'd be wanting to try and do as much as they can there. So, look, I think Fremantle will get the victory at home. Also on Saturday night at TIO Stadium, Richmond and Essendon in the Dreamtime game. I was hoping to see Sydney Stack go in the pre-match celebrations again, but I don't think that'll be happening because he's not playing. I'm going to be tipping Richmond. Don't think there's a lot of explanation there. Essendon, they haven't been all that great against teams like the Saints and drew to Gold Coast, but then there was a loss to GWS and Brisbane. Richmond, they've been pretty good. Apart from a loss to Port Adelaide, they've been pretty good since the festival of football started, culminating with a win against the Dogs. So, look, I think Richmond will win this easily. On Sunday afternoon, Adelaide and Geelong. Yeah, think Geelong will win because Adelaide are playing like terrible, but they might not want to repeat history again. That's what Geelong are trying not to do. For those that don't know what I'm referring to, remember how Fitzroy were the last winless team back in 1964? They were almost winless in 1963 if it hadn't been for a victory against Geelong. At the same time, Geelong were in the midst of winning 28 games in 30 matches, including a draw, and that one loss to Fitzroy. But anyway, I think they would have learnt from that, even though it was 50 years ago, so I'm not sure if any of those people even remember what happened. But anyway, they'll beat Adelaide easily. Sunday afternoon at the Gabba, Brisbane versus St Kilda. Look, Brisbane will have 10,000 screaming fans behind them. St Kilda, they've been doing good, but I'm just not sure when they play some of the top teams sometimes. Like, they did just lose to Geelong a couple of weeks ago. If Brisbane apply that same pressure that Geelong did, I think Brisbane should win this game. Even without Charlie Cameron, I think they'll do all right with 10,000 screaming fans behind them. And lastly, on Sunday afternoon at Optus Stadium, West Coast and GWS. Pretty easy win for the Eagles. GWS have been terrible. The Eagles, on the other hand, have been playing almost dictionary perfect, rulebook perfect football. So yeah, with the midfield that's going with the Eagles right now, everything's clicking together for them. GWS, as people have said before, they're playing like 22 men and not as a team, so got to go with the Eagles. And lastly, on Monday night, North Melbourne and Collingwood. As gallant as North Melbourne were, they still did lose to Brisbane, who weren't exactly playing at their best. They were pretty flat. Collingwood, they were coming off a shocking loss against Melbourne, and they will want to bounce back from that game. And look, they weren't convincing against Adelaide or Sydney, but remember, they did beat them. So, look, I think a similar performance will occur on Monday, and I think Collingwood will closely beat North Melbourne. So, to recap my tips, I am tipping Gold Coast, Melbourne, Port Adelaide, Richmond, Fremantle, Geelong, Brisbane, West Coast, and Collingwood. I hope you liked this video. Please subscribe. Please just give this video a thumbs up and comment what you thought of the video down below and who you think will win this weekend. And I will see you next week. Goodbye.